I want to talk to you about one of the most peculiar and fascinating aspects of human psychology, something I call the backwards law. And this is the principle that the more you want something, the more it moves away from you, like trying to catch a handful of water. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it runs through your fingers. You see, we live in a culture that is absolutely obsessed with getting things, getting happiness, getting success, getting love. We approach life as if it were a supermarket, and we're pushing our little cart, trying to fill it up with all the good things, with wealth. But have you ever noticed that the people who are trying hardest to be happy are often the most miserable? That those who are desperately seeking love are the ones who can't find it. This is the backwards law in action, and it operates on a very simple principle. When you try to stay on the surface of the water, you sink, but when you try to sink, you float. When you hold your breath, you lose it. This is the paradox of control. Now, let's take the example of sleep. Here's something everyone can relate to. Have you ever had one of those nights where you absolutely must get to sleep because you have something terribly important in the morning? And you lie there and you say to yourself, I must sleep. And the more you try, the more wide awake you become. Your mind starts racing. You become aware of every little sound, every little discomfort. You look at the clock. But on a lazy Sunday afternoon, when you have nothing to do and you're just lying on the couch reading a book, what happens? You drift off without even trying. Because sleep, like happiness, like love, like all the most beautiful things in life, cannot be pursued. It must be allowed. The Chinese philosophers understood this perfectly when they wrote about Zen. Not forcing, not straining, but moving with the natural flow of things. Like a skilled sailor who doesn't fight the wind, but uses it, who doesn't battle the waves, but rides them. Now, this drives the Western mind absolutely crazy, because we've been brought up to believe that the way to get something is to go after it, to work hard, to strive, to achieve. And in certain areas, this works wonderfully. If you want to build a house, you gather materials and you build it. If you want to learn mathematics, you study and practice. But when it comes to the fundamental experiences of being human, joy, peace, love, contentment, suddenly all our methods backfire. Consider the person who wants to be loved. They try so hard. They please, they flatter, they cling, they demand. And what happens? They push people away. They become needy, desperate, unattractive. But the person who is content in themselves, who isn't trying to get love from others, who has what we might call a take it or leave it attitude, these are the people who seem to be surrounded by love, or take the pursuit of happiness. We have people running around trying to be happy. They read books on how to be happy. They attend seminars on happiness. They make lists of things that should make them happy. And they're miserable. Because happiness is not a thing you can pursue. Happiness is what happens when you're not trying to be happy. It sneaks up on you when you're absorbed in something else entirely. This is why the mystics have always said such outrageous things. They tell us that, to save your life, you must lose it, that the way up is down, that strength comes through weakness, that you must die to be reborn. And people think they're being deliberately obscure or paradoxical. Wealth. But they're not. They're simply describing how things actually work at the deepest level. You see, the problem is that we've been bamboozled into thinking that we are separate from life, that we are subjects confronting objects, that we are isolated consciousness trapped in a bag of skin trying to get things from an external world. But this is a hallucination. You are not separate from the universe. You are a function of it, a manifestation of it, like a wave is a function of the ocean. And when you understand this, really understand it, not just intellectually, but in your bones, then the whole desperate business of trying to get things from life reveals itself as absurd. It's like your right hand trying to get something from your left hand. The getting and the giving are all happening within the same system, within the same being. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you should be passive, that you should just sit around and wait for things to happen. That's not it at all. I'm talking about a different quality of action. Action that comes from wholeness rather than from lack action that is like dancing rather than struggling. When you dance, you're not trying to get somewhere. You're not trying to arrive at a particular spot on the flower. The whole point is the dancing itself. And when you live this way, when your actions come from fullness rather than emptiness, from joy rather than desperation, then paradoxically all sorts of things tend to work out. But the moment you start grasping, the moment you say, "Ah!" So the trick is not to want things, and then I'll get them. You've fallen back into the trap. Because now you're wanting to not want. You're trying to let go. You're making an effort to be effortless. And round you go. This is why the Zen masters are always playing such funny games with their students. The student comes and says, "Master, how do I achieve enlightenment?" And the master might hit them with a stick, or ask them about the sound of one hand clapping, or tell them to wash their bowl. Because any direct answer would just become another thing to grasp at, another technique to try, another way of perpetuating the illusion. The truth is much simpler and much more difficult than any technique. It's the recognition that you already are what you seek. That the peace you're looking for is available right now, in this moment, not as something to be attained, but as something to be noticed. That the love you crave is the very energy that moves through you when you stop blocking it with your desperate wanting. But money with wealth, but we're so busy running after the horizon that we don't notice we're already standing on the earth. We're so desperate to become something that we don't realize we already are something extraordinary, something that the entire universe is doing right here, right now, in the form of you. And when this clicks, when you really get this, there's a kind of cosmic laughter that bubbles up, because you see how funny it all is. All that running, all that seeking, all that desperate wanting, like a dog chasing its own tail. And in that laughter, in that release, something relaxes. The fist unclenches, the water flows, and life starts happening with an ease and a grace that all your effort could never achieve. This is the backwards law. The great secret that isn't a secret. The joke that the universe is constantly telling, but we're usually too serious to hear. That what you're looking for is what's looking, that you can't get it because you've never not had it, that the only way to win this game is to stop playing, and then discover that not playing is the most beautiful game of all.